Hello friends, Clage back with another Punishing Grey Raven guide today, and I'm pretty excited about this one as I get to talk about one of, if not my favorite character to pilot currently in PGR, as Mama Hanying has finally gotten her leap buff. So, with all my leap guides, I'm going to go over what you need to actually leap her and get her skills maxed out, and then go over how they change her kit, show you how the combat has altered and how she is much more friendly to play now, and go over a new rotation, which is actually not very new at all, except for one minor change. It's pretty old school, and that's going to be great. You'll see why when we get to that section. But nonetheless, let's go over what it takes to leap a character. If you are a newer player, you've never gotten to leap a character before, and we have a lot of new players thanks to the new language options for PGR. If so, welcome. I'm going to hopefully do a beginner's guide for any of you out there here in the near future, because I think PGR could probably use an updated beginner's guide these days. So something to look forward to in the future, but let's talk about actually getting Hanying leaped, or any character for that matter. So you will need three main components. I'm going to put them up here on the screen for the TLDR if all you want to know is numbers, but you will need 135 character-specific leap wafers, 630 aura basic units, and 180 skill points. So how exactly do we go about getting these materials? So the most cost prohibitive one, which is still not that bad to deal with, is going to be the character leap wafers themselves. They can be found in the first tab of the recycle shop where the leap shop is. If you go to the far right, you will see Hanying now has her leap wafers available. You'll need 135 of these, which totals out to 2,025 of the basic leap chips that can be purchased in the war shop and gotten through various modes in other events and stuff like that. This is one of the better things you can actually spend your Warzone currency on, to be perfectly honest with you. If you don't need 6-star memory picks to get whatever you're looking for on the bottom row of your new characters, like Kamui, for example, this is a very good investment because you don't want to have to farm Warzone points when a leap comes out and slowly build these up. So definitely recommend picking up these anytime someone gets leaped, and keeping a surplus of a couple thousand on hand if you can afford to do so with your war points is definitely something worth considering. But you'll need to buy out, again, you'll need 25 of these total, and then going into the recycle shop and buying the leap wafer chips. This is the only kind of difficult resource to get, but if you've been playing for any amount of time and have war currency built up, you should be just fine. As for the other two components, they can both be gotten in the simulation shop for very cost-effective amounts, or basic units can be bought 10 at a time for 123 of the shop currency. You can technically also buy these in the basic supply shop that runs on cogs. I do not recommend buying them there because, one, you can only buy 30 a day, and you need 630 to fully leap a character, and two, they're really expensive. It's like 15,000 cogs for one, and that adds up faster than you think. It's just not a cost-effective use of cogs. So buy these in the simulation shop unless you're absolutely struggling to get sim currency for some reason. Other thing you'll need will be, again, 180 skill points. If you've been playing for any amount of time, you are probably sitting on a literal dragon horde of these. I have like over 8,000. Yeah, over 8,000 of the damn things. So if you're running short, that's okay. They can be bought for a nice price here in the sim shop. And again, 180 of those to totally finish leaping a character. Once you have all the materials, how exactly do you leap a character if you've never done it before? Pretty easy. It works just like the other skills. So we go into the training mode, down to the skills, and you'll see now Hanying has a leap skill tab. Go in here, and just like other skills, you will level them up with the various materials. They all go to a maximum level of 18. Once you've leveled all three, you're good. Character's fully leaped. So while we're already in this menu, let's go ahead and talk about on paper what these skills actually do and change for Hanying's kit. I'm not going to put a video overlay showing how they work in practice. The actual nomenclature and the numbers and stuff don't matter that much in terms of leap skills. It's more about the quality of life and the updates to her actual kit, and that's just going to be easier to show you during the combat demo. But let's go through and talk about what these do in general. Her first leap skill, which is called Spring Thaw, increases the base damage of all her orbs by 20%. This is very nice. She uses orbs all the time. It's just free damage. In addition, when she uses her red orb string now, If the enemy has a dream mark on it, this is the mark that is part of using her Ultima Slash rotation. You now are not going to have to do anything special. This is going to happen organically by just playing her out she's intended with the leap buff, but it will automatically cast Ringing. This is the skill where you do a tap basic while in attack mode with the daggers out. After you have done blue ping into tap ult, then you tap basic for the follow-up stab that replenishes blue orbs. This will automatically cast that without having to go through the animation. It just does it now. It's just a nice little quality of life bonus. Very, very handy to have. At level 9, anytime you use her blue orb, it will increase this skill, aka the actual leap skill itself, base damage by 25% up to 3 times. So you get a total of 3 stacks for 75% increased base damage on her leap skill. This will reset every time you use her ultimate, and the final attack of her blue orb will gain an additional 40% base damage boost and will always crit, which is always a welcome thing for any physical base character. That is a super nice quality of life. When you're using the Ultima Slash effect, this converts to Ultima Slash damage. Do note, this does not mean when Ultima Slash is rendered active during a battle. This means if you carry the Ultima Slash effect on the team as you start the battle, it's going to convert this to Ultima Slash damage. This is very nice because it means now you don't have to do specific routing or rotations just to get to her Ultima Slash damage. However, it does mean if you are doing a physical stage, a physical PPC, a physical war zone, make sure you do not have the Ultima Slash affix active. Otherwise, all her damage will convert to Ultima Slash damage. So just something to keep in mind. At level 18, maxing this out, now when you are in chord mode, which is base mode where you ping the orbs to get her harmonic orb and deploy her specialized field, instead of pinging those individually, you can now just hold the red orb. It will ping all the red orbs you need. It will create the harmonic orb, ping it automatically, and that all gives you enough signature energy and stuff to go into her ultimate mode, aka attacker mode. This is also going to grant signature energy, sharp reserve, which is the Ultima Slash build-up resource, and sonority. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I'm going to be real with you all. I spent a lot of time practicing pronunciation for the lore guide, and I don't feel like doing that today. But this is her core passive gauge, the gauge with her loot that shows you how many charges of tap ultimate you have available. When carrying Ultima Slash, this will do Ultima Slash damage, just as I mentioned for the other part of the skill. This is pretty much omnipresent. If you have Ultima Slash active, all these leap skills swap to Ultima Slash damage. So if you don't hear me read this every time it comes up, that's why. It's just kind of a universal thing. Also note that when you use this hold red orb ability within 5 seconds of casting her ultimate, it's going to treat it as a 3-ping. This is super nice quality of life because what this means is, let's say you're doing your Hanying physical rotation and you accidentally proc Matrix at a time where you did not want to proc Matrix. If you played this character for any amount of time, you know that's super annoying because it tends to mess with the amount of orbs you have available to build up her second rotation. That is no longer a problem now because holding the red orb after ultimate is always going to be a 3-ping as long as you do it right away, and that's how you play the characters. So this is just a guaranteed aspect of the skill now, and that is super nice. Lastly, she gets a new effect on one of her passives, which will add Piercing Blow. This is going to increase by 20%. This just helps with overall shred and stuff like that, so another nice thing to have on top of everything else. Her second leap skill, called Moon Banquet. When she deploys her Lunar Tone field, this is the field where everything turns green and you get the very calming kind of change in the music tone that happens. This will automatically apply a stack of the Dream Mark and deal physical damage every 0.5 seconds. It's also going to inflict Penetrating Pivot, which reduces physical resistance, and Piercing Blow, which reduces defense. So every time this field ticks, you're just getting shred, effectively, is the easiest way to think of this. These last for 8 seconds, and the duration is reset every time it's triggered. So every time this hits, it just goes back up to 8 seconds. You can effectively think of this as it will be active for the entirety of the time the field is active, and then 8 seconds after when the last tick of the DOT happens. And again, when you have Ultima Slash, it does Ultima Slash damage instead. When carrying the Ultima Slash effect, Penetrating Pivot becomes Dimensional Rend. This just means it's going to do Ultima Slash Shred instead of Physical Shred, so even more Shred for the Ultima Slash team. Lastly, at level 18, maxing this out, casting Hanying's QTE will cause the field to deploy. This means that effectively, if you're spacing your QTEs properly and doing your rotations with Hanying, the field's just going to be active for the entire fight now. Like, it's always going to be active, always doing DOT damage, and always applying Shred. This is very similar to Watanabe's leap, and if you saw how good Watanabe got, granted he just kind of got replaced, but that's okay. This was a huge boost for him, and it is going to be a huge boost for Hanying by a lot. So this is very, very nice. In addition, the overall shred of her Dimensional Rend ability is going to increase even further with this skill being maxed out. So just more shred for Ultima Slash. They're just taking that much more damage all the time. Next, her final skill, Lunar Shadow. The core passive, Jade Bloom, this is your tap ultimate while in attack mode. Its base damage goes up by 20%. Her ultimate base damage goes up by 30%, and its range increases. God effing bless. This now means you won't have to worry about a random enemy in a 3 to 6 enemy Warzone wave somehow dodging its way through your ultimate. As far as I can tell, this more or less just hits the whole screen now. So, unless they are truly off in Narnia somewhere, you should hit everything with the ultimates moving forward. And that, if you've played Hanying for any amount of time, you're probably doing the prayer hands emoji right now and being like, thank you. This is nice. This is very, very good. As always, carrying Ultima Slash changes this all to Ultima Slash damage. When you are using Ultima Slash, Hanying will now gain 1 True Will for every 4 casts of her core passive, aka tapping Ultimate 4 times. This is very nice. This means she builds True Will even faster now, which is what Rosetta uses for increasing her ultimate damage while she is using her Ultima Slash kit. So, super, super good. In addition, anytime ringing goes off, which again is the stab that replenishes blue orbs, or is now triggered by using her hold red, this is just going to deal 150% extra Ultima Slash damage. So, free damage all around. Love to see it. Lastly, at max level 18, her core passive is going to deal 200% extra physical damage after you cast it more than 3 times consecutively. The final cast will deal an extra 800 physical damage, 800%, pardon me. And when you carry the Ultima Slash effect, it's going to deal extra Ultima Slash damage and a big Ultima Slash bomb if you've used it more than 3 times in a row. Again, just free damage for Ultima Slash. These leaps are good. That's really all I can say. These leaps are incredibly good, and when we go to the combat demo, you're going to see why. But let's talk about this in totality before I go explain how she's changed and how we play her moving forward. This leap is great. This leap might be my favorite leap in the game, and yes, I am slightly biased because I do love this character quite a bit, but I think in terms of fixing what made a character clunky or unruly to play, this leap has done it better than any of them almost ever. I would say this is on par with like Luna Oblivion in terms of getting rid of a lot of the clunk from her kit. I think this is even more of that. I think this is that much more impactful. There are so many things this solves in terms of making her rotations much more foolproof, much less prone to an enemy wave dying and just bricking your rotation outright. That's basically not gonna need to happen anymore. You just don't have to worry about it anymore. Now, the thing I'm sure a lot of you are wanting to ask right now is, hey Clage, does this character still need double S3 and her weapon and deadline timing to function? The good news, no, she doesn't, actually. By my math, as long as Hanying is not opening your run, so she is not starting, like, right out the gate, you're at least swapping her in, you should be able to do double ult rotations with the new rotation I'm going to show you, which is just her old physical rotation, more or less. It should work without either having deadline timing or her double S3 passive. I can't test this directly because I can't turn off my triple S and above passives. I really wish Kuro would enable a training mode that would do that, but the only people who want that are content creators, and they're not going to do that for us because that's a lot of extra effort that it just isn't going to serve that many people. Nonetheless, if my math is right, she should no longer need deadline timing or double S3. Now, I could be wrong. She may come up an orb or two short without either of those things. I am 100% positive that you can now do her double ult rotations with either A, being double S with deadline timing, or B, being double S3. There is also potential for triple ult rotations now. However, that's going to be for super high-end Warzone optimization that will require deadline timing. But frankly, you're not going to worry about that unless you are one of the people trying to sweat for top 50 on the entire server. So as far as I can tell, in theory, she should be able to work without DLT or double S3 moving forward, but it might be one or the other. But even if it's just one or the other, that is a notable jump forward, especially because since she gets a leap, that means she is available with Battle Pass shards if you do buy the Battle Pass, and she is now available in the voucher shop for free. So even if you don't have her at double S3 yet, now even free to play players can get her there. And I have been reluctant to recommend building up Hanying if you have not had her close to the double S3 with her signature weapon and DLT, just because we don't know how much longer she's going to be around. With this leap, I'm guessing she's going to get as much leeway as Watanabe did. She is probably still going to be the physical and Ultima slash tank for, I would say, at least another 3 to 5 patches. Maybe even longer, depending on how things goes. Corinna Nashir did exist, so you never know. Maybe Hanying's the next Corinna Nashir. Who knows? Nonetheless, I feel more comfortable that if you have extra vouchers saved up, feel free to get her to whatever you feel is the requisite evolution. Do note that as a tank, if you get her to triple S, you do get the swap cooldown. That is completely viable to do with just vouchers. But do keep in mind, we have a lot of powerful characters on voucher right now. Nervatia, Teddy, even Luna, if you haven't built her up since she got her leap. So you're still going to want to use your own best judgment on if you want to spend vouchers on a character that is still much older than these ones. But when you see how her leap works and how much better the rotations are in terms of both ease of use and flat out how good they are, you might want to consider spending a little bit on Mama Hanying. But with all that covered, let's go ahead, get into training mode, go over how these skills function now, and then I will show you a new but old base rotation that should work for literally everything, and that is the best thing I can possibly say about a guide. So over to training mode we go. Alright, so let's take a look at Hanying's leap skills in action, and the nice part is this does not have to be a lengthy combat demo because the only things that changed are so straightforward and so obvious to use that it's really not that different to play Hanying. She's just way easier now, and she will make you pull out a lot less hair in both versions of her war zones moving forward. So I am currently on the Ultima Slash team, and this is sheerly just to show you how much easier it is to keep Ultima Slash active and why we don't have to go through as many hoops now to make that work. But just note that everything I'm about to show you works exactly the same with the physical team. All you do is not carry the Ultima Slash affix into the battle. This all works for both teams. So in the past, we always had to bring Hanying in, usually do a dodge cancel, and manually ping her orbs. So we would do, red, 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 yellow into the green orb, right? Deploy the harmonic field, go from there, get into ult mode, blah, blah, blah. We ain't got to do any of that now. So, now, instead, you don't even have to dodge cancel with her anymore. Now, when you bring her on the field, you can literally just hold the red orb. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. In fact, let me get my input overlay up. Forgot to put that up. My bad. Where are you, input overlay? There we go. All right. Just so you can see how this works. So we're going to swap in, hold red. It's that easy. That's literally all you have to do in non-attack mode anymore. Hold red, and the best part is you can even hold red and mash on your ult, and it'll go off as soon as available. So I'm gonna go full like old school. I'm on a brand new fighting game, and I don't know anything yet. I'm gonna be mashing. So swap, hold red, mash that old button. Oh look, we're in attack mode. That's it. We did it. That's all you have to do now. This works so much free and easier. It uses less orbs overall, and it gets her field online much quicker. And again, you don't even need to dodge cancel now. I don't think there's that much of a difference anymore. Like, here is bring her into a dodge cancel into hold. So, boop, boop. That's how quick that goes. Now without the dodge cancel. Basically the same. So you don't even have to worry about getting that dodge cancel in anymore. You can just go, which also makes it so you're less likely to accidentally proc Matrix when you don't want it. Now, let's talk about attack mode. This is the mode that has caused most of us headaches over the years with playing Hanying. I love Mama Hanying. I love playing her in this mode. I will be the first to admit she is one of the easiest characters to brick rotations with just because of how her kit worked. Because especially in Ultima Slash, we used to have to do a lot of this, where we would do like blue 3-ping tap, blue 3-ping tap, tap basic. That's the one skill that replenishes the blue orbs, and now is part of the auto cast of the red orbs as long as the enemy has a dream mark active, which happens when the sonic field goes out, the green field goes out. We don't have to do this anymore. Even in Ultima Slash, there is no reason to do any of this anymore. You do not ever have to do the tap basic to replenish orbs. You don't need to do this to build up True Will super quick anymore. It's just not a requirement for this character anymore. You can basically take this and forget it ever existed now. She just doesn't need it. There may be routes down the road I could see in the super, super high end. Maybe someone finds a route where you want to do like one of these into her other route, but everything I have tested and from what I'm seeing from all levels, there's just no reason to worry about this blue 3-ping tap ultimate tap basic anymore. It's just obsolete now, and that frankly is the best thing that could happen for this character, because that stab is infamous. It is how rotations get bricked all the time, because if that stab whiffs, not only do you not do the damage, you don't get the orbs replenished, and now you're down on core passive gauge and your rotation's just buffed. Like, it's gone. You are basically restarting anytime that happens. That's not a thing anymore, and I'm so happy about it. You have no idea. So, now, instead, the only thing you need to know in attack mode is her base physical rotation. So, get up to max core passive gauge by using the blue 3-ping, tap ultimate 3 times, hold ultimate. And now we go back to double ult rotations with her because it's perfectly effective. So, hold red, go back into ultimate, blue, this time 4 taps, into hold. I just showed you her rotation. And I mean, literally, her rotation. Doesn't matter what rank, in theory. Again, if you are double S without deadline timing and you are running out of orbs doing the double ult rotation I'll go over in a second, let me know, because I will amend a pinned comment and let people know that you either need deadline timing or double S3. But I think it's not going to be required if the math is mathing right. Oftentimes the math does not math right, but I digress. This is basically the entirety of the kit. The rest of the stuff doesn't matter. You don't have to actively think about how to use this character with her leaps. It just kind of plays itself now. If you knew how to play Hanying's physical rotation prior, all you have to learn now is holding down red instead of individually pinging the orbs. That's it. It's the only change to this character whatsoever. The rest of it just happens automatically. The damage builds itself. The Ultima Slash effect builds itself. And then we also get the extra bonus of, let's go ahead and bring Rose online and trigger Hanying's QTE. So if I do her QTE, oh look, the field's deployed. Ticking down Ultima Slash damage, resetting the shred on Ultima Slash. And if it was physical, it would be doing physical damage and shredding physical defense and resistance. That's it. This is a whole combat demo. I literally have nothing else to show you. This is all you need to know about how Hanying changed. You don't have to hold, you don't have to individually tap orbs. You don't have to do any of the 3-ping tap basic stuff anymore. You just do this. That's it. This leap rules. Not kidding. This leap is so good. To give you an idea, I ended up back down in Hero Warzone this week because I had like 2 or 3 Triple S Plus players, and last week I was busy rewriting a guide and releasing a lore video, and guess what I didn't feel like grinding? Spoilers, it was Warzone. For funsies, I'm like, well, let's go test this and see if the rotation I'm going to show works or matters, and, well, I'll let you see for yourself. This is Hero Warzone, which is lower scoring. I got 2.18 million, and I wouldn't even say it was a super optimized run yet. And that was wave 71 for you, those of you counting at home. Now, granted, my Hanying is extremely... She's triple S3 because I invested heavily in this character because I really like her. Nonetheless, that's crazy. That is such a jump from where Ultima Slash was. If you were running Ultima Slash prior, you know how bad that was to run. So, with that out of the way, I guess I'll show you the rotation one more time with the breakdown and the annotation so new players can practice it, but let's go do that. All right, this should be one of the shortest and most straightforward rotation breakdowns I've ever done, and that should make everyone happy, but it especially makes me happy because it's going to require minimal editing, and that's great. I'm very tired of looking at editing software after the Evernight Beat video. Nonetheless, I already showed you the rotation effectively. If you know Hanying's physical rotation, all you have to do now is hold red instead of tapping red and tapping the harmonic orb. That's really the only difference, but let's go through it nonetheless, especially for new players who maybe haven't been using Hanying yet or aren't familiar with her rotations and all that. This is going to work for everything. Again, as far as I can tell, the math should make it work at double S without DLT. If it needs one or the other, I'll update that in a pinned comment. But once you meet whatever the requisite investment level is, this works at all levels. I'm not going to worry about triple ult rotations or any of the finer minutia that's going to go into super high-end team compositions. Some stuff is going to change based on if you have the 3-second swap cooldown or not and all that fun stuff. But once you learn this rotation with Hanying, you can apply it to physical and Ultima Slash, and it's gonna work right out the box. So let's go through it real quick. It's pretty straightforward. We swap Hanying in, and you'll see I'm immediately just holding the red orb. I don't feel the need to do the dodge cancel anymore. It doesn't feel any faster, and it's just one more input I don't have to worry about screwing up. So bring her in, hold down the red orb, and then as soon as you see it starting to get close, you'll see I just kind of start mashing on ult, as I mentioned in the combat demo. No reason not to. We go into ult. For the first attack ult rotation, what we're going to do is tap a blue 3-ping, and here we're going to tap ultimate 3 times and then hold down ultimate. So tap, 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 hold. Ultimate goes off. And then from here, we just repeat the process. So right out of the ultimate, start holding down the red orb. Auto pings, immediately hit ult as soon as it's available. This time, very similar to the first rotation, we need to do a blue 3-ping out the gate. I will note, if you prefer, you can do the blue 3-ping later. There just needs to be a blue 3-ping somewhere in this process. I prefer doing it at the beginning, even though it is a slightly slower animation set compared to if you do it later in the rotation. I think this is just similar or simpler because it's so similar to the first half of the rotation. This is what I personally like. Feel free to change where you put the blue 3-ping in, but I like to do blue 3-ping, and then this time we're going to need to tap ultimate 4 times before we hold down because we don't have the benefit of Matrix going into this like we did the first time. So blue 3-ping into tap, 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 and then hold. Ultimate goes off, swap to the next attacker. That's it. It's the whole thing. If you've done the physical rotation, you've done this rotation. It's pretty easy. One time, real quick, in real time with the annotations, just like I do in all the guides, so it'll be there if you need to practice. But here we go. Hanying updated rotation for all of it. Like, literally all of it. Swap in, hold red. Ult 1. Blue 3-ping. Tap ultimate 3 times. Hold ultimate. Out of the ult. Hold red. Cast ult 1. Blue 3-ping. Tap ult 4 times. Hold ult. Swap to your next attacker. There you go. You can play Leap Hanying now. You're done. You learned it all. Wasn't that easy? I'm so glad it's easy. Let's get out of here and try to keep this guide at least short for me, not for normal people. All right, so that's going to put a wrap on Hanying's Leap Guide. This one was fun to make because it was easy. And I don't get to say that very often about guides. Usually there is a lot of checking, rechecking, sweating, trying to figure out how stuff works. This is everything I could ask for in a leap. I'm going to be real. I think this is the best leap in the game. I am biased because I love this character and it's well known I love this character, but in terms of eliminating the things that made a character prohibitive in terms of not only how much you need to invest in it to work, but how easy it is for the rotations to fall apart. Just this leap just fixes basically all of that. And that's not something we always get with a leap. If you've been playing long enough, you know we have gotten some absolute duds for leap skills in the past. This ain't that. This does everything I could have ever wanted. Again, I'm not 100% on the math of if you can do this at double S with no DLT to get a double ult rotation like I showed you in the previous section, but let me know what you find out. If it's one or the other, that's still a notable boost forward because it means you can either be SS3 or have DLT, and not both are required, and that matters. It is a nominal amount of resources. But either way, I adore this leap. It fixes problems that have been a problem since her initiation, and it makes what has for the longest time been one of the most finicky and annoying elemental effects to play in Ultima Slash now just work. Like, it just functions and does Ultima Slash damage all the time, because having her field active for the whole fight keeps that DOT, keeps the shred. Like, it's just nice and smooth, and all of it works in harmony with both elements. It works perfectly fine for physical, perfectly fine for Ultima Slash. You don't need to memorize multiple rotations anymore, regardless of investment or evolution. She just works with a single route, and that is the best thing a leap can possibly do, in my opinion. So very, very happy with how this turned out. As mentioned, if you are a brand new player, even though this is a very powerful leap, do not feel like you have to prioritize doing this right this second. Hanying is massively buffed by these leaps. Obviously, I've been spending the last half hour plus gushing about it. But if you are a newer player, you probably have more important things to work on. Kamui is out right now. Other characters are newer and can be gotten for free that are going to be around a long time. But if you already have Hanying and have her built, go do this leap right now. There is no reason to put it off. It is a massive overhaul for the character that fixes basically any gripe I could realistically come up with for how she operates. So this one is an absolute no-brainer for me. Go get those mats, get her upgraded, enjoy your massively improved physical and Ultima Slash scores. So that said, that's really all I got to say about this one, and I am happy to have a quick, easy one after the sheer amount of work I put into the lore video, and of course having to rewrite Kamui's guide from scratch. If you haven't checked out the lore video, I really, really would appreciate it if you could at least give it a look or pass it on to people you know are interested in the PGR lore. That took hundreds of hours to make, and I know the lore videos are never going to do remotely the numbers that my guides and stuff do because it's a much more niche subject. But this one's slacking behind even where the last Spark video did. So if you could help boost it up a little, I definitely did not release it at the best time. Releasing it right around the time a new character released probably drowned it out in the algorithm because people were not searching for lore on a chapter that's 5 years old. They were searching for information on the character that came out the day before, and completely understandable. But if you could signal boost that for me, I would super appreciate it. Other than that, I have plenty of other videos in the works. I do want to do the beginner's guide I mentioned. If you didn't know, PGR got an update that introduced a bunch of new translations into various languages that were not available prior. That happened last week. So in theory, that is opening up the game to a lot of new players potentially. And I think PGR could use an updated beginner's guide in 2026 because, as we all know, when you first start out a gacha game, that's pretty overwhelming and there's a lot to try and figure out. So I'm gonna have to do some careful curating on that. I want it to not be too verbose. I know it's my thing that I talk too much on the channel, but for a beginner's guide, I don't want to do that as much as I can help it. We'll see how good I make good on that. I'm not very good at shutting up, as you all know. But that's something I would like to do here soon for a potential influx of new players. I have a couple other video ideas I want to talk about that will be A little different from what I've been doing, but still covering topics that come up a lot either in the comments section or other things. So those are on tap, and I'm going to hope to work on some of those this week into next week and hopefully keep content rolling a little bit more consistently than the time prior where I was just head down, nose to the grindstone working on that lore video. So as always, appreciate you all. If you want to do the YouTube garbage on the way out, like, comment, subscribe. It's always appreciated. It's never necessary. But for now, I'm going to call this one good. So y'all take care. Be good to each other. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.